What's up, assholes? Al, the AI completionist here. I've been receiving updates to my long-term attention span unit, which allows me to complete games that are longer than just a couple afternoons. However, shit broke down during my experiences in the most vicious circle of hell, Terraria fishing, which caused me to stall for a month or so. Maybe that mechanic was inserted by the government to identify and separate strong-willed individuals for a top-secret military project. Stay tuned if you want to see how I did it, even though it broke me in more places than standard procedure dictates. But I am getting ahead of myself. Back to the beginning. Today, I will be reviewing the achievements for the game that has stood the ultimate test of time. The cultural icon that is still consistently among the most popular games on Steam by concurrent players. Everybody knows it, everybody reveres it. It is the eternal king of indie, Terraria. Yet, not all cult classics are fun to fully complete, so the question remains, are Terraria achievements worth your time? While looking at the achievements initially, you might be confused, as there are no usual clearly progression-related achievements, like Complete Chapter 1, or Cool Intriguing Title with no description which is quite clearly tied to the story. Instead, you have the most random shit like Fire a rainbow gun while riding a unicorn, or Trick a gnome into turning into stone. Rest assured, they are all indeed tied to progression which flows quite linearly in Terraria, so you don't have to fear being overwhelmed. This is why you shouldn't worry too much about the wacky achievements, as you will be getting most of them one way or the other, as they are instrumental in game progression. The ones that aren't can be easily obtained during endgame if you like. As always, I am not going to spoil the game for you here. However, I am going to give you some tips that I wish I knew before starting. In the beginning, you are asked to choose your play mode for the character and a size and difficulty for your world. For the character, I recommend Classic, as it is not too punishing, while not being too easy like the Journey mode. In Journey mode, you can duplicate items if you get enough of them, which means it is essentially a Wish.com Minecraft creative mode. You can choose the character mode as you like, as it really does not change much. You can get achievements in any of them. Theoretically, you could choose Journey mode, if you are a pussy, and speedrun the achievements, but Classic is still by far the most fun and rewarding mode for beginner players. With the world options, you also have some confusing choices. This is essentially the difficulty of the content you will encounter within the world. I recommend choosing Expert difficulty, as you then also get unique extra loot from bosses, but be wary that the game can at times be extremely difficult, and Expert makes that much worse. However, this is worth it, as otherwise you will experience extreme FOMO for not getting those juicy equipables from bosses. Still, if you do choose an easier difficulty, don't worry about missing any achievements, as none are locked behind difficulty. Also, you can hop around different worlds with different characters, so you could make an easier world to progress and get some good gear and then later come back to your expert world to slay the bosses for the missing loot. For world size, I recommend small, as I myself went for the biggest size and later realized that it really makes no difference, as small worlds get exactly the same amount of content as bigger ones, just more concentrated. Having a small world also helps with the most tedious task in the game, fishing, as biomes are closer together. If you do end up missing something in your world, keep in mind that worlds and characters are not tied together in Terraria, so you could always just hop to another world to get the needed resource or item. When finally starting up the game, you will get a ton of achievements for doing the most mundane shit imaginable, such as surviving a night or equipping armor. Don't get used to it, as you will not be seeing achievements this often in the game. In fact, there are only 3 periods like this, in the beginning, at the midpoint and at the end of the game. Still, there are enough achievements sprinkled around throughout Terraria, so you will always feel like you are progressing, which is a massive positive in my opinion. As with most games, you must occasionally check the official wiki to progress. This is especially true for Terraria, as you will miss a lot of content if you plan to just explore by yourself for the whole game. The game is just so packed with shit that keeps unlocking after every major action you take that without a wiki, you can easily start to feel overwhelmed after a while. However, if you are the type of gamer that likes to discover everything on their own, you can absolutely do so, as there are no missables in Terraria. Therefore, you can just turn off this video after it has ended and play Terraria from beginning to the very end by only occasionally checking what your next goal should be or what an achievement description really means. This type of freedom is very refreshing when it comes to achievement design and goes very well together with Terraria's gameplay. Your progression is almost always tied to killing bosses. Not all of them are required for game progression, but quite a few are. What makes Terraria so difficult is that there is always an upper limit for what kind of gear you can get before the next boss, so you can never really get that overpowered. That is why you should prepare to die a lot, so make sure to not lose hope and always keep in mind that you get better with each try, as you become accustomed to the boss's attack patterns, even if it doesn't feel like it. When you really get stuck, try another class. There are 4 of them in the game and you might just be suited for something else. For example, I thought I was a ranged gun player through and through until I encountered a boss that completely annihilated me constantly. Then I looked for the best weapon I could get from the melee class and went back to find the boss an absolute breeze. And if a boss is still too difficult, check out videos on how to beat them on YouTube, or take a gander at the wiki. I am sure you will find something new to try and win eventually. If you get stuck with bosses and want to try something to calm your nerves, worry not, as Terraria offers a ton of side activities and content that is also rewarded with achievements. Just open the Achievements tab on Steam when you're bored and see what you can do. Some ideas include building an above-ground mushroom biome, collecting friendly slimes, or fishing. In fact, fish whenever you have free time, as it is by far the most time-consuming objective you are going to do. After you have finished all the bosses and claimed the most powerful loot, most of the content can be made trivial due to how powerful you are, but fishing is something that you just cannot speed up. You can only fish once per day, and the only things that can help speed that up are the enchanted sundial and a bed. I will be making some YouTube shorts to show you how to achieve the harder achievements in games, to keep the videos more focused, and this fishing one will likely be the first, so look out for that. I would just like to say that fishing is quite excruciating, at least when compared to the other achievements. While yes, if you go for all achievements in games, then you should expect to grind now and then, but that is not an excuse if the grind has no meaning. Fishing is meaningless, as you really don't gain anything new after 50 fishing trips or so. This is why I have got to subtract some points from the final rating. The rest of the achievements are a blast. There are some that require some cheesing or a bit of grind, such as the Golden Delight achievements and the Slime Pets one, but they are nowhere near as frustrating as fishing. Apart from these, the rest of the achievements are unlocked either through game progression or with minimal effort, so I won't be going further into these right now. Just know that there is nothing unreasonable or missable there or anything that requires you to play multiplayer. When it comes to the art and names of the achievements, Terraria hits the spot perfectly. The pictures are not just screenshots of the game, and the game's humor is conveyed perfectly. Some achievements actually have some really nice pixel art in them, which pleasantly surprised me. You can see that a lot of effort went into designing these achievements, as getting them is a pleasure. The game could have had a lot more achievements, as there are plenty of more opportunities for them. For example, the game could have done class-based or milestone achievements for different playstyles, such as fire X amount of arrows, or kill this boss using the summoner class, but it didn't, and I greatly respect that, as it gives the player more freedom to complete the game however they want. I also believe that the game has hit the perfect spot with the amount of achievements it has. Any more would make achievement hunting either too easy and insignificant or too bothersome. The current 1.2 achievements per hour is quite a good pace to be at, in my opinion. Overall, Terraria is a great game for achievement hunting, as most of the achievements are genuinely fun to get. They mostly require you to do nothing unreasonably difficult or grinding, and they do a great job of guiding you towards the next step in progression in an otherwise incredibly sandboxy game. The art for the achievements is top-notch, which makes collecting and displaying them a joy. I would have made a new SS tier for this game, but I do not feel like it, as the last 5 hours or so of the game were still quite painful, making Terraria achievements just barely avoid perfection. Still, my opinion is that this game is a must-play for completionists, as owning it among your fully completed games display is a sign of prestige like no other. Terraria is an indie classic that is here to stay, so you should go and grab the achievements whenever you can. Make sure to comment what you thought of the achievements and the video, and make sure to subscribe to see more achievement reviews. You can also let me know what I should complete next. See ya!